The first thing anyone would tell you about the planet Zarathos 9 was that it was lethal. Its skies shimmered with violent auroras, casting sickly green and violet glows over jagged mountains that seemed to pierce the heavens themselves. The ground was alive, or at least it felt that way to those who dared tread upon it. Every step in the dense, spongy soil seemed to pulse beneath your boots, as if the planet itself were aware of your presence. Yet the thing that truly terrified the galaxy wasn't the terrain or the storms that raged across Zarathos 9 like spectral beasts. It was the alien queen, an entity so powerful and cunning that her name alone could still entire fleets. She wasn't just a ruler. She was a living weapon. Her hive spanned the entire northern hemisphere of Zarathos 9, a labyrinth of crystalline structures that pulsed with a strange bioluminescent light. Her soldiers, half organic, half metallic, were bred for obedience, efficiency, and death. They followed her orders with a precision that human armies could never match. Every species that had ever attempted to negotiate or invade had failed. Everyone feared her. Every species, that is, except Lieutenant Adrian Voss, a human officer of the Intergalactic Coalition. Adrian had been sent with a team of 20 to Zarathos 9 on a reconnaissance mission. Their orders were simple: gather intelligence, report back, and avoid unnecessary confrontation. Simple. Except that the moment their dropship pierced the turbulent atmosphere, the ground beneath them vibrated with a strange, resonant hum, and a shadow fell over the landing zone. The shadow moved with terrifying grace and size. It was the Queen herself. The team froze. Weapons were raised, but instinctively no one fired. The Queen's body was a marvel of organic architecture, tall, segmented, armored in iridescent chitin, with limbs that ended in razor-sharp claws. Her head was crowned with delicate, translucent fronds that quivered like antennae. But her eyes were what truly unsettled everyone. They were enormous, multifaceted, like molten gold reflected through shards of black crystal. They looked into you, through you, and past you. "Adrian," whispered his second-in-command, Sergeant Hale. "Stay calm," Adrian interrupted, his voice surprisingly steady. "She's observing, not attacking. Watch her." The others exchanged confused glances. Adrian did something no human had done before. He lowered his weapon. The alien queen cocked her head, the fronds on her crown quivering. She made a sound that wasn't quite a growl, not quite a hum, but something that vibrated directly in their bones. Every member of the team flinched, except Adrian. "You're not like the others," he said, surprising even himself. The words came out naturally, instinctively. Somehow, he knew she could understand him. Not with ears, but with the resonance of thought. For the first time, the Queen tilted her head in what could almost have been curiosity. And then, astonishingly, she stepped aside. The ground trembled less, the air vibrated less. She allowed them to proceed. The reconnaissance team moved cautiously through the crystalline hive. Every corridor seemed alive, with walls that pulsed in sync with a heartbeat they couldn't locate. The Queen followed at a distance, never directly visible, but her presence was undeniable. They discovered something shocking. The alien Queen wasn't just a military genius. She was a custodian of knowledge. Ancient archives, spanning thousands of cycles, lined hidden chambers containing information about the origins of multiple species. "Why hasn't she conquered the galaxy yet?" Hale asked quietly. "She has the power to wipe out entire worlds." Adrian shook his head. "Maybe she's not interested in conquest. Maybe everyone else is projecting fear because it's what they expect of her." And then they found the reason. A room deep in the hive contained what looked like a cradle, a massive, bioluminescent structure cradling several eggs. They pulsed softly, and Adrian felt a strange empathy emanating from them, a feeling so strong that it nearly made him stumble. These aren't weapons, Adrian whispered. These are children. The queen appeared behind him, her presence sudden yet silent. This time, she made no threatening sound. Instead, a low hum, almost musical, resonated in the room. Adrian turned slowly, holding her gaze. I understand, he said aloud. You protect your offspring. You've built everything for them, not to conquer. The queen paused. Then, in a gesture that would be remembered for centuries, she extended one clawed limb toward him, but not in attack. She offered it almost as a greeting. Adrian, heart racing, did not flinch. He reached out and touched it lightly. In that instant, an image filled his mind. He saw the queen's life, not just her strength, but her history. How her species had been hunted, enslaved, scattered across galaxies. How she rose, not out of malice, but necessity, to protect what remained. He understood her motives, her fear, and her relentless drive. And most importantly, he understood that her supposed tyranny was a projection of other species' fears, not her actual intent. Days passed, and the human team continued their exploration, guided silently by the queen. They discovered a city-sized organism, alive and symbiotic with the planet, feeding the hive's intelligence network. They witnessed soldiers of the queen's army performing tasks not out of aggression, but of maintenance, cultivating the planet, tending to wounded, and caring for the young. When the intergalactic coalition fleet arrived, expecting confrontation, they were stunned. Adrian walked forward, alone, toward the warships. Every commander's hand hovered over their trigger. But he raised his arms in a gesture of peace. She's not our enemy, he said. She never was. Hesitation gripped the fleet. Then, from the alien hive, the queen emerged, not with weapons, not with soldiers, but with a display of unity. The glowing eggs and the bioluminescent city pulsed as one, a signal that radiated peace rather than aggression. Adrian's words resonated across the fleet through the telepathic link they had not known they possessed. Do not fear what you do not understand. She protects, she nurtures, she preserves. Fear is your weakness, not hers. For the first time in recorded history, a human had walked unafraid among the alien queen's hive, and the galaxy watched. But peace did not come without challenges. The other species had sent envoys, weapons primed for strike, mistrust written across their faces. Adrian became the ambassador, the bridge between human and alien understanding. With each discussion, he translated not just words, but intent. He learned her name, not a human word, but something that resonated like a song, Thalara. And he began to see the broader threat, not Thalara, but the fear that drove the galaxy to war. Through months of negotiation, Earth and the Coalition forged an unprecedented alliance with the Queen. Trade routes were established, knowledge shared, and a new understanding of interspecies ethics emerged. And yet, Adrian sensed that Thalara was cautious, always vigilant. She had seen betrayal before. Trust was something that had to be earned, not given. The pivotal moment came when a rogue faction of humans attempted to assassinate Thalara, believing her power too dangerous. Adrian intercepted them, using not just combat skill, but diplomacy. She is not your enemy, he pleaded. If you strike, you destroy everything. Your alliances, your credibility, your morality. The Queen watched, and when the threat dissipated, she made a gesture that stunned all present. She lowered her defense barriers and allowed the humans to leave unharmed. Not as subjects, not as prisoners, but as equals. Years later, Adrian stood on Zarathos 9, now a hub of peace and cooperation in the galaxy. He watched Thalera with a group of younglings, teaching them not just survival, but empathy, curiosity, and the value of understanding others. Her soldiers, once feared, now assisted humans in building schools, research centers, and interstellar embassies. Adrian realized something profound. Fear had been the true adversary all along. Not the Queen, not her soldiers, not even the planet itself. Fear distorted reality, twisted motives, and nearly sparked war. By refusing to succumb to fear, he had changed the course of history. As Thalera's gaze met his across the glowing landscape of the hive, he felt a silent acknowledgement, a recognition that transcended species and language. They had bridged a gap that no weapon could have, no treaty could have, and no force could have forced. In a galaxy that had once feared the alien queen, one human had dared to see the truth. One human had refused to bow to fear. And that refusal had rewritten history. Adrian smiled. The auroras danced above him in vibrant colors, but this time they felt welcoming. For the first time, the galaxy seemed not a place of terror, but a place of possibilities. And somewhere deep within the bioluminescent hive, Thalera hummed, a sound that no longer threatened, but promised a future where understanding could triumph over fear.